We all love Papyrus, the sweet, cool and lovable smart doofus. I mean, I have created a whole persona in the image of Papyrus for my Teach Tale series. But what if I was about to tell you that Papyrus would have acted in the first draft like a typical Redditor or Discord moderator? Yes, you heard right. The original idea for Papyrus was a skeleton who wears fedoras. But wait, there's more. He always would have started his sentence with "My darling" or "Yeah, I'm a man's man." He also should have acted like a total creep with no redeeming qualities. I mean, heck, his favorite show would have been My Little Pony, which is a homage to the favorite children's show My Little Pony. I can already hear him say something like, "Yeah, you need a high IQ to understand My Little Pony, but you're not an elite Redditor like I." More facts about Beta Papyrus, because I love traumatizing you. Like in the finished draft of Undertale, Beta Papyrus would have dated the main protagonist. Yikes, am I right? And after the date, he will always call the main protagonist over the phone, where we as the player find out more about Papyrus. And the player would have come to the conclusion that Papyrus has still no redeeming qualities and is still a bloody creep. I can only imagine what some of these calls would have been like.
Hello, Fritz. It seems like none of my 500 calls have been answered by you, which I do not understand. I thought we had such an enjoyable date, and I thought that I was such a nice guy. And after I told you in a complete essay why My Little Pony is such an amazing and intriguing cartoon, I thought you would have actually liked me. But I guess I understand. Women only like bad guys, so let me say following. You're just a stupid bitch. Go fuck yourself.
Did you know that in the original draft of Undertale, Gaster was supposed to be the stepdad of Sans and Papyrus? Well, if that's really the case, then I can only imagine how Gaster left the brothers alone to get some milk.
Finally, I married the girl of my dreams. I know it will be hard due to the fact that she already has 2 kids and was already married and her husband left her for unknown reason. But I, Gaster, will try everything in my power to make this work. Because man, she got a fine ass, bro. She got a fine ass, bro. And no one will stop me from achieving this goal.
What are you doing, stepdad?
You know what? I think milk is the perfect way to celebrate this new marriage. Let me get the milk first.
The better idea of Undertale is an interesting concept due to the fact that it was built on karma points, which acted like the karma points in games like Red Dead Redemption, Mass Effect or Fallout. But how did you get karma points? And what did the karma points do? To answer the first question, you get karma points by sparing monster, meaning that the premise of Undertale was even in the beta version. But the 2 other ways of getting karma points aren't in the final draft. One of these methods is getting a job on the black market or giving money up to charity. But this begs the question, why was there a black market? What did they sell on the black market? And most importantly, for who or for what was the money for charity? In the last video we talked about how the player would have got karma points, but today we want to talk about the karma benefits. One of the many benefits is that you could spare enemies way easier, even the higher leveled ones. Speaking of enemies, when you got a high amount of karma, you got an extra chance of running away from an enemy by getting an extra roll for your dice. And yes, you heard correctly, you are supposed to roll with dice to escape your enemies, like in the classic D&D campaign. And apparently you can even store your karma points in an ATM, because apparently karma points were the currency in this Undertale version. You also could start pleading that your enemies would spare you. And when you finally decide to kill someone, you get way more loot. But if there's good, there must be evil. So what happens if you get a negative amount of karma points? Well, this will be answered in the next video. So Papyrus Date. Did you know that the adult humans in Undertale were so strong that when they started a war, they dusted so many monsters and lost no single human soul during this war? It was also stated by Monster Kind that it needed nearly every single monster to even take down one single human. So it's no wonder that a single human child could kill so many monsters. Did you know that the monster in Undertale are made of magic? And because they are made out of magic, they are bonded to their soul. This has some consequences, since this means when a monster doesn't want to fight or has its guard down, that their defense is lowered and that they can be killed in one hit, as can be seen by the betrayal kills. They will also take more damage from a more crueler person who has a strong will to inflict pain to other people, meaning a person with a higher EXP or LV stat, since these people have a easier time inflicting pain and suffering unto other people. Did you know that the monster in Undertales also do funeral? You see, when monster gets too old and kick the bucket, they turn into dust. And at the funeral, they take this monster's dust and spread it on the favorite thing that monster has owned, so that the essence would live on that thing. Did you know that Alphys from Undertale is actually bisexual? Many Interaction proves this by showcasing that she did not also had a crush on Undyne in Attraction tutorial, but also a crush on the king of all monsters, Asgore, who she called Mr. Dreamy. This is also showcased in Deltarune, where she drools over Asgore. Did you know that Asgore in Undertale is implied to be bisexual? You see, in both Deltarune and Undertale, both of these versions knows Noel's father, Rudy. In one of Undertale's alarm clock's dialogue, it is implied that Asgore had romantic interest in his college friend Rudolph before he passed away from an unknown illness. In Deltarune, both Asgore and Rudy were also close, and still are, since Asgore sends Rudy a bouquet of flowers. Did you know that the Mad Dummy in Undertale is actually a trans character? You see, in the Undertale Switch version of this game, there exists a secret boss under Papyrus Date, where the annoying dog has built his own shrine. Anyways, in this shrine, you the player find a doll. To be more specific, a Mew Mew anime doll. When you try to interact with her, a fight starts, and it is revealed that the Mad Dummy possesses this body, since the Mad Dummy claims that after seeing this body in Alphys' lab, she knew that this would be her dream body, the body she was always imagined to have. While that is cool and all, I wouldn't touch a single thing Alphys has owned, especially if it is a life-size doll of her favorite female protagonist. Did you know that the Mad Dummy from Undertale had a side job as Undyne's training dummy? You'll probably know about Undertale's hard mode, but how do you play Undertale's hard mode? Well, when you start a new game in Undertale, you need to name your character Frisk. By doing that, you enter Undertale's hard mode, and like the name implies, the game becomes extremely hard, while each monster in the ruins were replaced with their stronger version to challenge the player. The only monster that stayed the same difficulty are Napster Block and Toriel. Speaking of Toriel, when you either beat her or spare her, the game ends with Toby Fox appearing beside Toriel and informing the player that he didn't finish the Undertale hard mode and don't plan on finishing it. Thus end the Undertale hard mode. On February 4th, 2013, Toby Fox posted a joke replying in a friend forum thread on stream.net, in which he claims to be working on the sequel to the Earthbound hack Underbound, which he would name Underbound 2. This is most likely a joke, but in this forum we see the first draft of the Undertale battle system and some background lore about Frisk. The first draft of the battle system showcased a battle UI where the player would be able to fight talk, use items, use spell, and spare enemies, which is quite different from the final version. We also learn that Frisk was a young androgynous protagonist who had a step cousin named Squeezo. Toby also claimed that something tragic happened to Frisk's mom. Did you know that Papyrus is smart when it comes to extremely complicated tasks, but is struggling with easier tasks? For example, Papyrus is a master in machine building, since he built all his traps himself. He is also a master artist, since the bridge in Snowdin is actually just a formation of rocks that he painted to look like a bridge. He is also talented enough to sculpture himself with snow. But when Papyrus is faced with simple tasks, he is massively outclassed, since he shows to struggle to solve a junior jumble word scramble, struggle with the simplest puzzle he built himself, and struggle to read a horoscope for hours, since he believed he needed to solve it instead of reading it, and most notably at all, his inability to cook spaghetti. Did you know that Papyrus is obsessed with his biceps, since he fully believes that they would help him make friends? Did you know that Papyrus from Undertale will not date you when you don't flirt with him, but will instead hang out with you? The interactions are mostly the same, but the main difference are that everything is platonic, and the hangouts end with Papyrus stopping us from becoming too obsessed with him, so that we can become finally happy by reaching our full potential, by living more for ourselves instead of just for Papyrus.